Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And this is the second in my series of using this pretty paper that I made using the shimmer paints. And in the information just below the video, I will put the link that shows the YouTube session that shows how to make this paper. So what I'm going to do is 2 or 3 videos here on how else to use the paper. The first one that I made, it included this version of that card. And the technique that I showed is how to make this paper using the shimmer paints. And so to refer to how to make the paper, look to the video below. This was the first, and I think it was 3 versions of this, one on soft suede, one on early espresso, and this one on crumb cake. And so this is the second in the series using that paper. So the materials that I used for this one is I used a card base of soft suede, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. For this one, I have 2 pieces of very vanilla that measure 4 by 5 1/4. Then I have a large scrap of this paper to cut some of the elements. Let's see, I have a small piece of scrap of copper and a small scrap of very vanilla. And in this case, I'm using the dies from Birds and Blooms. And the 2 dies that I used to make this were this bird die here and then this little bird die here. And the little bird is on the inside, and I put the little leaf and the small bird in here in some of the colors that I used in the exterior. Okay, so let's just get started here. What one needs to do, and you can see I've already cut my piece from the edge here. I did use this die here. This die is from In the Woods Framelit dies. It has this sort of snowbank die, and I used it here just to get this interesting shape on the edge of my card. Then I also used for the background here, I used this, I can't remember what the name of it is. I'll put it on the video for you. This birch tree pattern embossing folder here for the background on this one. And then I used lots of shapes. And this is my little envelope of shapes that I cut in that first video. I have lots of different ones to use here. And that one was taken from this die set. And there's the leaves there that I cut. And then I used the leaf punch. And this one is called Seasonal Layers. But once you cut your paper and you cut out many pieces, then you can kind of use it to go back and forth on the different techniques and the different combinations of things. So what I did was first cut my edge piece. And if you'll remember on this piece, what we did was we cut this piece of paper in half. So this edge is 5 1/2 and this card is 5 1/2. So this edge being cut here is perfect to fit on the edge of your card. So let's see here. I need, here's my pieces of the card, and I've already run my embossing folder through on a piece of vanilla. And so this is just a matter of taking our card base, then this piece, yes, make sure this is the right one. I've done that on camera before where I put it on upside down. So this one, we are just going to use some tape runner here, and we are going to put this piece in place. And so on the card, because we don't have anything to tuck underneath, So I'm going to, I should bring out my silicone mat. I'm asking for trouble if I don't. Okay, so get my tape runner down on this, and because I've got uneven surfaces when you emboss, I put a little extra tape runner on this piece. Then I put this piece into place on my card. Then I put this piece into place, and what I did was I put tape runner at the top and the bottom and all down the side, and you'll see on this one I tucked some leaves right in the center. So I'm going to put some tape runner just down on the top and the bottom and leave this middle part open. It'll stay down just fine, and then I can tuck my leaves in a little bit easier. And what I want to do here is take my piece here and set it up so that it is flush against the edge and the top and the bottom of that card. And so there's my piece ready to go in there. Then I took another piece of this paper, and let's see, I used my bird stamp here, and I need a pierce mat to do that. And I've already done mine, but I want to just show you what I'm doing here. So I used my embossing buddy on this piece of paper. It's very, very important for this paper to be good and dry. Mine have been dried for a couple of days now, and I did use a heat tool to help them dry if you want to use them more immediately. And we're going to take, I think this bird will fit in, it just fits. Okay, so we're going to put some Versamark here of my bird right in place on this card. Get a nice, good impression. There we go. And then I've got copper powder this time. I used copper powder to cover my bird here. And here we go. I've got my bird. It looks like I need a little bit of a brush. Got a little stray powder where I don't want it right along the edge here. There we go. And I will quiet the video. Okay, there we go. We have our bird on here. Can put the embossing powder away. And then I've got my die here, which I'm going to put into place. And I would just run that through my embossing machine just like that and get my bird image out. And I have done mine ahead of time, so we won't have to wait. And here's my bird, and you'll see that I put the bird down here at the bottom of my card. So I just need to put some dimensional pieces on the back side of my bird. Okay, so I'm ready to put my bird in place here at the bottom of my card. And I've got his feet, his tail, and his head supported. So there he is right there. Oops, he's not very straight up, is he? Let's see if I can lift that and get him a little bit more upright. There we go. There we go. All right, now the other thing that I have available to me is my little envelope of shapes that I have cut out. And on this one, I used open weave leaves, and I thought I might do something a little different with this one. I have 2 of these leaves that are embossed in gold and then die cut out. And so I think this time on these, this is what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to put some tape runner here on the back, and I think that I will snip off these stems because I pretty much don't need them, and tuck my leaves right under here. This color combination of all of the browns, the early espresso, the soft suede, and the crumb cake, then the crushed curry, this mango melody, and the Cajun Craze with the copper and the gold all just seem to mix and match so beautifully. So the next thing I need to do is dig out a set of copper leaves. There we go, those are gold. Well, gold will work. So what I'm going to do is take my other piece of Very Vanilla here and put it into place on the inside of the card. Like this. And then I'm going to cut off most of the stem on these leaves. You know, I think I do want that in copper. Let me keep digging here and see if I can't find one. And if not, I think I will just cut one. So here's my leaf punch, and you know, I think I'll cut a couple to stick in my little envelope. I don't like not having them available. So that's the leaf punch, and now I've got a couple of copper leaves here, and I am going to snip off the tail, put these all back in my envelope for the next card I'm going to do, or at least another card. And I'm going to add some snail to the back of this set of copper leaves and put them in place right down here at the base. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my little bird that I cut out. Isn't that just the cutest thing in the world? And I'm going to set my little bird right here on those leaves at the bottom on the inside. And I think that makes a lovely decoration for the inside of the card. Now, what's left here is to put our sentiment together. And I have a couple pieces of scrap of the Very Vanilla here. And I have my stamp, which is all the best, wishing you all the best. And I stamped that in soft suede, and you'll probably laugh at me here, but for the life of me I can't find my soft suede ink pad. I have absolutely no idea what I've done it. I'm sure it's in a bin with another project, but I happen to have one of these wonderful little ink spots here. And so I'm going to use that to get the soft suede put down along the edge of my piece here. Stamp that into place. And there we go. I've got wishing you all the best. A little crooked, but not too bad. And since I don't do straight very well, I'm going to bring out my trimmer here and trim this little piece down. There we go. All right. Then I have a little piece of this paper that I'm going to need. This is not quite 3/4, so if I cut this piece not quite an inch, and then this piece is a little over 2, so I'm going to cut this a little over 2 1/4. And that should go on here just right. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit of tape runner on the back of my sentiment here and layer that on my piece of paper. There we go. All right, and then I need a couple pieces of dimensionals to go on the back of my sentiment here and put that into place on my card. And there we have wishing you all the best. I'll also put on the screen for you where this little stamp came from, because right now I can't remember. And so I'll have that on there. And then what I did was I used some of our sequins, metallic sequins group, and I used my new tool here. And what I did was I just put a little dab of Tombow down on my silicone mat, kind of spread it around so it wasn't real heavy, and then used my tool to pick up a handful of these pretty copper sequins and get a little glue on the back and put a few of those things into place. And this tool works so well for this. It's just wonderful. Be able to pick up your sequins and, for me, get a little bit of glue on the back of them and then put them into place around the card. Makes this just as easy as anything. Here we go. I've got all the sequins I want on there, and I'll put those away, and that is pretty much the project for the day. So pretty easy once you have your paper made to decide how you want to use it, but I like the simplicity again of this design that features mostly the paper and the little bird. And this could certainly be a birthday, it could be a sympathy, it could be just about anything you want. But I like the, I want to do a couple more using this paper, and I have more ideas than I've got time for other ways to use this paper that we made. So that's the project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. We've just passed a quarter end with the moving in to October. So if you join now, you don't have to complete your first minimum of $300 of purchases or sales until the end of March. So it's a very good time to join. The next time there will be an incentive to join is probably right after the first of the year. During celebration, and once they release the occasions catalog, there's generally some kind of an incentive to join. So those are the choices that there are. And so the prize draw for this month is a $50 shopping spree on me. All of this material can be ordered on my website, www.lbedinger.stampinup.net. And I have, since I hit my 10,000 subscribers, I've been doing a prize draw with every video I'm doing for 30 days. So the prize draw for this is the 2 bottles of the shimmer paint, or 3 bottles of the shimmer paint, the 3 that we used to make this. So the prize draw is a gold, copper, and a frost, white frost, shimmer paint. So in a couple days, I'll pick out the winners and contact them. And I'm still looking to hear back from the first two winners. Now, if the two previous winners had contacted me this morning, I haven't looked yet. Vicki George and Judy Estrada. I'm waiting to hear from you so I can get some prizes to you. So that's it for me today. I'll be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye.